Hello everybody, my name is Ash, and welcome back to another Fallout New Vegas Unpatched PS3 showcase playthrough, whatever you want to call it. It's a video. It's a video showing the weird day one quirks of this game. Basically playing this game in its quote-unquote worst form, because if we can't handle it at its worst, we don't deserve it at its best. At least that's the way I look at it. Some inspirational quote from apparently Marilyn Monroe. Don't know if that's actually a real quote, but something I see get tossed around, credited to her. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. That's how we're approaching this Fallout New Vegas at its worst. I want to say how much I appreciate people coming by and watching the first episode of this series. It did surprisingly well, above expectation for me. I know it might not seem that much compared to big YouTube channels that cover Fallout, but for me, it was pretty big, pretty huge. First time ever editing together a video, scripting a video, and to see, that many views in less than a week and to go up by 1,000 subscribers in a week is incredible. It's probably the biggest boom I've had, ever. And I've been doing YouTube for over a decade now, and granted that decade of YouTube has been mostly Let's Plays and exporting VODs or re-uploading VODs from Twitch streams. So it's really baffling to see how, to see that kind of response to a video. So thank you everybody for watching and commenting. Following that though, I do want to apologize for taking so long to make another episode. Originally when I came up with the idea to make this series, on paper it was going to be as simple as, hey, I will do a stream, then I'll edit it, and then I'll post it online. And that was that. That was the naive plan that I had before I started. But as I went along, I figured it's not as simple as that, unfortunately. The first episode was very playthroughy, which isn't really the purpose of the series. The purpose of the series is to show off the differences. So the remainder of the series will happen in the chronological order of how I did it in the playthrough. I'm going to try and edit out as much blow as possible, because I don't want to waste people's time with just another playthrough. People who are probably watching this are probably more interested in the differences rather than, oh, here's my trip to Prim, do the Prim stuff. Okay, now I'm heading to the outpost, then to Novak, then to Nipton, then to, Nipton, Novak, then to Boulder City, then to, it's not supposed to be a playthrough. It's supposed to be a showcase. That's the main purpose of this entire series. I will say, if there is a demand for it, I will post the entire playthrough up onto YouTube at some point, unedited and just there for everyone to see, just to see how far it goes. But at the moment, that's not really what I want to do. I would like to state that the current playthrough's path is kind of weird. Basically what I'm trying to do is do as much as humanly possible before we deal with Benny. And also something that I've kind of fallen into at the moment is doing all the trophies. So what will end up happening once you do reach the strip is I'm going to make a hard save, do one storyline, and then beat the game with one faction, then reload the save, and then beat another faction, and so on and so forth, and get all 4 endings to clear all the trophies out. So if you see in the footage that I'm using a weapon that isn't considered a cowboy weapon, that's the reason why. There's trophies for dealing damage with certain weapon types. Also, as of recording this, I have 38 hours of gameplay footage, and that's just the PS3 footage. I don't even include B-roll. And with my limited free time, I have not been able to edit and keep up. I would have loved to post a video weekly for Fallout New Vegas, but unfortunately that's not been the case. So again, I do apologise, and hopefully I can get this series out as quickly as possible. Alright, it's time to finish this intro. This intro was clearly done on the fly in improv, and honestly it took longer than I intended. Sadly, I'm a complete train wreck when it comes to these kind of voiceovers. This one was completely unscripted, this intro, at least, and the reason why it took me about 2 hours to record this 4 minutes purely because I'm just umming and ahhing and I actually it's just not me, I'm a nervous wreck. I'm a lot better at the old, just sitting back and talking over a game as I'm playing it versus, looking at an Audacity waveform and just talking. It's weird. It's absolutely weird to me. But yeah, thank you all for your patience, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Right after the sponsor, me. I live stream this on Twitch, and you guys should go and follow. Maybe even subscribe. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. All right, on with the show.
Yeah! Who won the lottery? I did!
Spoiler alert, this is not the last time this will happen. After reaching Novak, we head to the Mojave Drive-In. Much like the canyon wreckage, the patches don't really change the appearance of this location. We pass Wolfhorn Ranch and over to this bridge. In the final version of the game, there's always 2 merchants spawning in, but on the day 1 release, there is no merchants to be found. This came to me as quite a shock because by this point I had quite a lot of loot that I wanted to dump. What's also missing is members of Caesar's Legion. Usually there's a few near the billboard ready to ambush, but they're also missing. There's also an NCR patrol nearby that appears in both versions of the games. In the final release, I think it adds quite a lot to the story because you see these NCR and Legion soldiers fighting each other, but then you got the merchants that's caught in the middle. We reach Novak, and for some reason Victor spawned in and he's still dead. I go and steal that gun from Cliff Briscoe, and honestly I went into this thinking it would be a good weapon of choice to use in this playthrough, but it ended up being pretty terrible. I believe the reason for this is because the gun was buffed in a patch. In the final version it has higher damage per shot and faster fire rate. A lot of guns were changed in various patches and I won't get into all of them, but another one that stood out to me was Pew Pew. In the day 1 version it holds 30 energy cells and each attack costs 15 energy cells. In the final version it holds 10 energy cells and each shot fires 5 energy cells. The damage from what I can tell is the same, but obviously in the original version Pew Pew just chewed through all your energy cells. The game crashes again. When loading the game, I noticed that each save file is getting gradually bigger. We're not that far into the game, so the crashes and the frame rate and stability isn't much of an issue. But as we get deeper and deeper into this character, the more unstable this game is going to get. In the background footage, I'm currently working on the Come Fly With Me quest. After Boone teabags this Nightkin, and the Nightkin probably deserved it, we head down into a dining area where we find the food processor from Fallout 3. The food processor has a decent value, but unfortunately it wasn't programmed correctly and only works with gumdrops and junk food. This could have potentially been a good item for hardcore difficulty. For example, they could have made it where uncooked food didn't give you -2 strength. Maybe reduce it to -1 strength instead. But unfortunately, instead of fixing it or implementing it properly, the developers decided to just cut it out completely. This item is no longer available in the final version of the game. After travelling a bit further, I decided to drop down a safety save. The pause screen is completely broken for some reason. Like it's been punched through or something, I don't know. It looks like it's been punched through. It's a good thing I did save because a few minutes later, my game crashes. I think maybe the fire ants might have overheated the console or something. Actually, I'm not too sure about that. Every so often I'll put my hand on the PS3 to check its heat, and it's pretty cool to be honest. It's not overheating or anything or making any loud noises. So these crashes in this game doesn't cook the console. We finally reached the 188 trading post. Although the game does stutter towards the end, I almost panicked that it was going to crash again. And this area has had quite a few NPCs cut from it. Over by the Slop and Shop, there are 2 cut NPCs, the Destitute Traveller and the Water Brahmin. Not sure why they were cut, but it was a shame because it really added to the area and made it feel more lived in. As you can see in the PC footage, they were cut out in a patch. Also, I felt like the Destitute Traveller gave somewhat of a tease to New Vegas itself.
I sat down at a roulette table with my life savings. An hour later, it was gone. The Strip's got more gorgeous women than I've ever seen in one place, and most of them's affordable. I really have more important things to do. Sorry. Back home, we don't waste time talking to strangers either. Can you spare some caps, mister?
The gun runners at the 188 are also different. One of them is like patrolling up top,
Man, I love my guns.
and a second female guard is standing by Alex. This female guard was cut, not too sure why, but in the final version of the game, only the male guard is left. He's repositioned and constantly next to Alex. Another weird thing is the pathing. There's a lot of NCR troopers down here that usually aren't. One's even sleeping in a bed. I believe this was fixed in one of the patches. One last thing I want to cover is the merchants in this game. For this example, we'll use the arms merchant, but this will apply for pretty much every merchant in the game. From what I can tell, in the day one version, the merchants don't really sell much of anything. In fact, later on in the playthrough, I had a big issue with just finding 45-70 rounds, even at the gun runners. By the looks of it, there was a patch that made merchants sell more stuff. In the day one version, the arms merchant doesn't really sell much of anything, whereas the PC final patch version, she has quite a lot of inventory. And I don't even have the gun runner's arsenal installed. This is literally what she gets without any DLC installed. Okay everybody, thank you all for watching and I hope you enjoyed the video. I do again apologise for how long it took to get this out. I've been having trouble maintaining concentration whilst working on these videos. But hopefully you guys still enjoyed what you saw. And again, thank you all for your patience. This episode was unscripted. In order to try and get it out as quickly as possible after procrastinating for so long, I ended up just narrating and improvising section by section and chopping it up and redoing it until I felt like it was good enough. But hopefully you guys still enjoyed what it is, what we got here. Again, I'm not a commentator. I'm more of a let's player than a commentator or narrator, so bear with me. Practice makes perfect, and I'm very, very imperfect. That being said, if you want to see me in my quote-unquote element, feel free to follow me on Twitch, where I live stream on Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. And at the moment, I've been doing Fallout Fridays, which is where I've been streaming this playthrough. Also, feel free to join my Discord server. We have a Bethesda Dump channel where you can pretty much discuss what's going on in this series and even give feedback and suggestions onto where and what I should look at. The next episode will feature Boulder City, Hoover Dam, Freeside, and other great New Vegas locations. When will the next episode be out? It's not about when, but if. No, I'm joking. I'll come out eventually. Yeah. Again, sorry for the wait. Please leave a like and subscribe. Please. Okay, see you, bye.